দর্শক শুভেচ্ছা। আমাদের এই বিশেষ আয়োজনে আজকে আমাদের সাথে উপস্থিত রয়েছেন খুব বিশেষ একজন অতিথি, ক্রিকেটিং লেজেন্ড, শ্রীলঙ্কান মায়েস্ট্রো কুমার সাঙ্গাকারা. Kumar, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
First tell me, how have you enjoyed your time in Dhaka?
I think I've had a fantastic time. The Dhaka Dynamites, from the owners to the management and the team, have been absolutely fantastic. Great array of local talent and also some great international players. So we've had a mixed run in the tournament, but staying in Dhaka, seeing what Dhaka is like, but also playing cricket on the field has been brilliant.
Let me take you back a bit in your past, in your early days. I know you were a very big fan of Vivian Richards. How big a inspiration was he on you?
Oh, I think Sir Viv was an amazing batsman, an amazing cricketer, amazing larger-than-life figure in world cricket. And growing up watching him was inspirational because you understood the amount of courage, the technical brilliance, and also the unorthodox style and swagger that Sir Viv brought to the game. How important all of that is in a way to making up a complete cricketer. He played the game very fairly. He played the game hard. He took on challenges with the same kind of mindset, at all times. And whether he scored a 0 or 100, walking in and out of that pitch, he would walk the same way, in head held high, broad shoulders, always with a lot of pride in that West Indian cap. So I think he was a figure a lot of people around the world looked up to and still look up to. And then of course there was Brian Lara from the West Indies, one of the best, of course, to me, after Sir Viv, he's my all-time favorite. So, Brian, I wish I could bat like Brian, but again, outstanding cricketers from an outstanding cricketing nation. So they've really gone a long way in molding my cricket.
Right, Kumar, you've mentioned two names, Sir Vivian Richards and Brian Lara, of course. These two gentlemen are attached with entertaining cricket. Cricket as an entertainment, more than like cricket, the serious cricket that we know. They played serious cricket, but watching them was entertaining. So were your batting. Your philosophy of batting was?
Well, I think first of all, to start with your earlier comment on entertaining cricket, good cricket is always entertaining, and that was what was amazing about cricketers like Sir Vivian Richards, Brian Lara, Aravinda De Silva from Sri Lanka. When they went and played great, good cricket, whether it was in the Test arena, one-day arena, there was no T20 at that time. Spectators flocked to the ground to watch them because, for us mere mortal cricketers, the things that they could do to a cricket ball, the way they could maneuver stroke play, the way they could clear the field, the way they could reverse pressure on bowlers, that was something of a revelation. My philosophy on batting, even though I've taken a lot from these great cricketers, is a very personal thing. I'm not as talented or able as these other cricketers, but I can be effective in my own way. So my theory was ensure that I take advantage of what I have, ensure that every time I walked in to bat, I made a telling contribution to the side and also to the result of the game, and ensure that more often than not, I got on the scoreboard for the side. So it was a case of ensuring that I trained well, I practiced properly, and executed on the field.
Kumar, you started a decade and a half ago on international level. You've been playing cricket for over 2 decades now. You've seen cricket evolve. Do you like what cricket is right now?
I think it's necessary that cricket evolves, and the evolution has been gradual, but definite. From 60-over cricket to 50-over cricket, from 2 runs to 1.5 runs and over in Test cricket to 4.5, 5 runs and over now. World Series cricket in the 70s. Then of course the World Cups being so much more entertaining. New rules and regulations brought in, field placement curtailments. Then of course the advent of T20 cricket. There are lots of things that dictate change. One is of course to ensure that the sport is played at an optimum level and the best players with the best skill are always on display. The other thing, of course, the most important thing is to ensure that we have spectators who come and watch and in turn get inspired, especially children, to take up this sport. So that means that cricket can't stay the same. when society changes, expectations of people changes, when the time they have to devote to watching a sport is curtailed and other things take priority, cricket also has to change to keep pace with the times, and cricket has done that very well. Of course, Test cricket is still the ultimate format of the game. We have one-day cricket that has been unbelievable in the last few World Cups, and of course T20 cricket has brought in a whole new cross-section of fans across the world to the sport. It's also T20 has also been an instrument with which we can easily globalize the game, properly globalize it, maybe even get it into the Olympics. So I think every cricketer has their place in current world cricket. We spectators have their likes and dislikes, but I think cricket is going to change more in the future, with pink ball Test cricket now being trialled out to ensure that spectator interest remains high, and with over 40 to 50,000 people watching a Test match, a day-night Test match, that says a lot. So I'm a fan of the fact that cricket sticks to its roots, to its spirit, but also manages to keep pace with the times.
You've talked about the T20 cricket, and people like Brian Lara and Alan Donald, the legends, they say this is the future of cricket. Do you agree? And where does Test cricket stand in your view? You know, besides this T20 razzle-dazzle.
I don't think they would have said that this is the only future for cricket. I think this is a great addition to the future of cricket in T20. But Test cricket is always the ultimate format. There is the only record books that matter are Test records. You know, your hundreds, your wickets. But also one-day cricket has churned out some really good cricketers. T20 has also caught up in a way, but there is no way that the other two formats will ever overtake Test cricket. No matter what changes Test cricket undergoes, Test cricket is the one format of the game that players take the most pride in. They want to wear that cap for that country, wear the whites, walk out and play their best cricket.
Kumar, we are watching like Test cricket evolving also. We are watching drop-in pitches. We are watching, as you've said, like 5 or 5.5 runs per over. The run rate is incredible. These are all the elements to attract crowds. So you said you believe in the root of cricket. Is the root still firm?
Yeah, the roots are very, very strong. You've had threats to the roots, of course, with spectator interest dying, corruption issues in cricket, inequality of power among the cricketing nations, or there was no equal say when it comes to countries around the world. But I think those things are being sorted out. Lots of discussions going on, trying to see which way is best for world cricket. And I think there are a lot of very well-meaning, very well-equipped administrators administering the sport and trying to find out the best way forward. It's going to take a while to find the right balance. You're talking about changes in Test cricket. It's also, there's been a change in mindset of cricketers and attitudes, where they think that Test cricket can be there are ways in which Test cricket can be developed and played on the field that seems to be a sudden change, but it's just in an evolution in mindset.
Now, cricket has its own franchises. Franchisee world has entered the cricketing world. Is there a possibility of more and more cricketers turning into sort of what we call mercenary cricketers? Not interested to play for their national team rather than playing for their franchises?
Well, I think it's basically a choice that a cricketer has to make, and also there has to be a good balanced dialogue and relationship and rapport between cricket boards and their players. Players must also understand that when they play international cricket well, it opens so many doors for them. It makes them high value players when they do well for their country, whether it be Test or ODIs. And then, of course, franchises that are involved in T20 cricket look at them with more interest. So playing for your country is always a priority. But of course, everything has to be balanced, because cricket is how people make a living. Professional cricketers make their living off playing cricket. So they need to balance, their family interests, their personal ambitions, but also the country and spectator ambitions, and try and come to an understanding that is favorable to everyone. It's not an easy thing to do, and you've seen friction between boards and players in the past. You'll see it in the future. And also, I think international cricketers, be they from Zimbabwe or be they from Australia or India, they need to have a minimum wage.
Kumar, Bangladesh has also entered the realm of franchisee cricket. You're playing for Dhaka Dynamites now in the BPL. How's the tournament going for you, and overall, what's the feeling?
I think the tournament's been fantastic. It's been a revelation. My first time playing the BPL, and I've been very, very pleasantly surprised. I think the standard of cricket has been high. Some great players coming and playing, some wonderful local talent on display, like I said before. And I think if we can safeguard the tournament from destructive elements from within and without, especially when it comes to corruption, this tournament has a fantastic future. Administrators, owners of franchises, and the players alike need to come together to ensure that the tournament remains clean, it remains of high standard and high quality, and that there are no player issues or administrator issues or franchisee or franchise issues, so that people go away, especially the international players, and they take a very positive message back to their own countries, which then makes other players interested to see what's going on here in the BPL. So I think this is a great first step, and it needs to keep building and getting stronger.
Now let's talk about our favorite thing, Bangladeshi cricket. All of them wants to hear it from your mouth. Do you like what they've turned into? One days we're doing great, tests, all right, we're learning, T20s, we're learning. So your take on Bangladeshi cricket and where it has...
I think Bangladesh cricket has improved in leaps and bounds, especially in the last year and a half, when they've beaten most of the top sides in the world, South Africa, Pakistan, India, and New Zealand at home, especially in one-day cricket. And that's been very, very heartening to see. Some very, very talented and really wonderful players coming through in Shomush in Mustafiz, together with the old hands like Mushfiqur and Mashrafe,
Shakib Al Hassan,
of course Shakib, and Tamim Iqbal. They're in the mix. So I think it's wonderful to see where Bangladesh cricket is at. You've got an amazingly competent and able coach in SHANGAKARA Singha. You've got a wonderful assistant in Ruan Kalpage, Mario Villavarayan. All these, the Sri Lankan trio, I think, has contributed immensely to Bangladesh cricket. But at the same time, I think the players themselves need to understand that you can't be satisfied with doing well in just one day. You need to keep those standards high and consistent, but you need to pay a lot of attention to Test cricket and also T20 cricket. There's a T20 World Cup coming up. Test cricket is what you really want to play for in the long run, and also one-day World Cup coming up in England. So they need to prepare, they need to train hard, and keep taking a lot of pride in the fact that they're Bangladeshi, they play a Bangladeshi brand of cricket, and that they represent this wonderful country.
Talking about Test cricket, you had a liking on Bangladesh while playing Test cricket. You had a triple century against them. Talk about that.
Yeah, my series, I really don't care who I play against. I just want to do as well as I can on that day. And whether it's a triple century or whether it's 20 or 30 runs or however many runs I get, I want to get as many as I can. Some days you do, some days you don't. That's the way the game goes. But my ambition was always to score as many runs as I could.
And now Mushfiqur Rahim, our Test skipper, kept wickets. He's keeping wickets for his team, but there's a thought about to set him free, release the pressure from his head. He will play as a batsman, specialist batsman. You had to do that in your career. You kept wickets, then you played only as a specialist batsman. How it helps a Test cricketer?
Well, it depends. I was batting number 3, so to keep in a test match and bat number 3 was getting difficult. I did that in one-day cricket all my career. That was different. But even in one-day cricket, it becomes hard. But in test cricket, it's very, very difficult. Mushfiq bats in the middle order, so he has a bit more time. But also it has to be all about the balance of the side, what the side needs, and also whether the side will benefit greatly from releasing Mushfiq from the gloves and allowing him to become a batsman, and whether Mushfiqu will repay that gesture by churning out lots of hundreds and lots of big scores for the country. So it's a worthwhile risk to take. It keeps you mentally fresh. It puts a little bit more pressure on you because you know that there's only one arrow to your bow or in your quiver. So you need to discuss with selectors and with the captain of the team and find out the best way forward.
And finally, Kumar, I would ask you to, you've played in front of thousands of Bangladeshi supporters. You've played all over the world cricket. You just went to US and came back. Everywhere you go, you are recognized. How a cricketer of your stature or any cricketer could help cricket with their popularity, their experience to make it a more globalized game?
Well, I think it's about playing your part. Every time you walk onto the field, to ensure that you play as fairly and as well as you can, and ensure that you're in peak fitness, ensure that your skills are at an optimum level, ensure that you talk about the game positively, ensure that you try and be of benefit to other players if the need arises and if there's an opportunity, and ensure that you play this game well. That's the best you can do, I think. So you can get involved in various ways, administration, coaching, whatever. You don't have to do all of that, but if you do your skills well and you carry yourself well on and off the field, I think you've already done your part to help world cricket.
Well, Kumar Sangakkara, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much
for the interview.
Thank you.
দর্শক, কথা বলছিলাম কুমার সাঙ্গাকারার সাথে। আজ এ পর্যন্তই। ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন।